How's it going, viewers? Mr. Incredi-Brony's back and he's rolling with the punches, baby. Welcome to Incredi-Brony Reacts. We're going to be checking out a actual video by CinemaSins. This is the first time I'm doing this on the channel besides when I react to Everything Wrong with The Incredibles, which is my very first video, by the way. I should probably do a reaction to that video since it's been more than 2 years. But this is going to be another CinemaSins video we're checking out. It's called Everything Wrong with Back to the Future. This was requested by Captain Hampton, who made it clear this is his favourite movie from the 80s, I believe. So yeah, Back to the Future. Everyone knows this franchise. Let's just see how it goes in this video. 1, 2, 3, react. The only reason I actually like this movie is because Pinkie Pie dressed up as Marty McFly in one episode.
Wait, Doc, are you telling me that it's 8:25?
Marty has a watch. What time did he think it was when he was visiting Doc Brown's garage? He clearly can't blame his lateness on the silly clock experiment.
Fair point.
Mountain Dew Hat clearly already knows that Marty is on the back of the Jeep, but reacts to it again like he's noticing him for the first time further down the road. Also, Mountain Dew Hat. Hill Valley is a small town, but they support every American's right to sit in a theater and watch a porno movie 24 hours a day right there in the town square.
Oh my gosh.
Also, orgy American style. Hey man, when it's an orgy, I don't think anyone's instilled with a sense of nationalism.
Biff just happens to be my supervisor.
It's really hard to believe that the bully Biff entered the same line of work as nerdy George McFly, and ended up being his supervisor. 3 pens to make George look extra nerdy in this shot, 2 pens to make him look a third less nerdy in the next shot.
Uncle Jailbird Joy? He's your brother, Mom.
Thanks, Dave, for clearing up the relationship between your uncle and your mother. This grand appearance by Doc Brown and his DeLorean is pretty great, but it's also unlikely, considering that the DeLorean has these vertical opening doors. It would have been impossible for Doc to get into the car while it was in the truck, so he would have had to use his remote to get the car out of the truck, get into the car on the outside, drive it back into the truck, and then, just for the purpose of impressing Marty, drive it back out. But he's not even doing it to impress Marty.
Buddy, you're just overcomplicating things now.
Marty, you made it.
Why are these flames on the road that are clearly touching Doc and Marty not burning them? Einstein could see the Libyan National Bus at a great distance, and they didn't even have their headlights on.
They found me. I don't know how, but they found me.
Yeah, I'm with you, Doc. Maybe they could have tracked you down to Hill Valley, but how did they figure out to go to Twin Pines Mall at 1:30 in the morning to come find you? When
Very
Einstein
specific.
made his time travel journey, the DeLorean was super icy. When Marty makes his, there's no ice on the car. Also, he drove through the open door of the barn, meaning his car should be facing away from the Peabodys when they come to investigate. And even if he came from another direction, there appears to be no openings behind the car. Inky black of night to early morning sunrise in a matter of seconds, and then it's a totally sunny day in absolutely no time.
Great, you're alive.
A phone book listing does not prove whether someone is dead or alive. It's a good thing Lou doesn't take a look at the money Marty gives him. He might find some years that don't exist yet.
That's John F. Kennedy Drive.
Who the hell is John F. Kennedy?
Obviously, the road didn't exist in 1955, and it's obviously one of those, haha, back in 1955, people didn't know how famous John F. Kennedy would be type of jokes, but Marty's grandfather says, who the hell is John F. Kennedy? As if you're supposed to be familiar with the name of anyone a road is named after.
Never mind that now.
Marty clearly didn't have the camera on when Doc said this.
Never mind that now.
Even though apparently it's possible for this camera to be wired to a 1955 TV, I still have trouble believing that there would be perfect playback after one of these plugs falls out of the camera. This is cool,
That'd be
but
fair.
why would Dave's head be missing while Marty and Linda get to keep everything? And why just his head, and not his whole body? And wouldn't the picture's very existence start to disappear? George is rudely awakened by some Eddie Van Halen, and he somehow doesn't make a noise to wake his parents up. This kid on the left looks like he's helping Marty break his friend's soapbox scooter in this shot, but is calmly watching everything from his own scooter in the next shot.
I'm gonna ram him!
Geez, I knew Biff was a bully, but not like a homicidal one.
Yeah.
Dude, that's your mom. Although, it's a young Leah Thompson, so I don't know if I can blame you. Wow, even in 1955, you could open something locked as long as you had something straight in metal. The most telegraphed punch in history somehow lands on Biff's face. He deserved it, but damn, the punch George tried to throw earlier wasn't nearly as telegraphed, and he stopped that one perfectly fine.
Scram, McFly.
It's actually kind of amazing after George socked Biff that this red-headed stepchild comes in and steals Lorraine from him. After the adrenaline rush of beating up the biggest bully in school, who's going to stop you now? This is actually a great scene and one of my favorites in movie history, but since we know George is going to come back and push this dumbass off Lorraine, and we know he's going to kiss her, why would Marty's existence still be in danger? Does George have to kiss Lorraine at the exact moment he did in the first timeline? Marty doesn't do anything to help George make this decision. George makes the decision on his own, so this would have happened no matter what.
Let's do another one!
Suddenly Marvin is excited about doing another number with Marty, even though he screwed up most of Earth Angel.
You know what that new sound you're looking for? Well, listen to this!
All of Chuck Berry's contributions to rock and roll are now explained. His cousin saw a white guy playing Johnny B. Good, and he took all the credit. During Marty's awesome guitar solo, I started wondering what happened to the Pepsi box that this amplifier was standing on earlier in the evening. Strickland has his ears covered at the end of Marty's solo and takes his hands away, but apparently just the thought of Marty's guitar skills makes him cover his ears again.
Marty. Such a nice name.
But you decided to name your first son Dave anyway.
Look at the time! You got less than 4 minutes!
But don't worry, that's just movie time.
I want. I got a time machine. I can just go back early and warn him. Okay, 10 minutes ought to do it.
You're giving yourself 10 minutes to tell Doc he's gonna get shot? Why not an hour? Or a day? As long as you don't run into
Or a
yourself, you
week,
should
or
be
a month,
fine.
or a
So,
year, or a
10
century.
There's 11 minutes. That's cheating. Car suddenly goes dead when you most need it, cliche. Electricity is way slower than I thought it was. Man, Doc Brown can take a lightning strike like no one I've ever seen. Jeez, how many things does this car have to crash into before it shows any damage whatsoever?
Brett.
Is that former Mayor Red Thomas on the park bench? He looked kind of old back in 1955, and 30 years have passed since then. Shouldn't he be, like, really old? Or be dead by now? Car suddenly goes, it. Just hit the steering wheel with your head, Marty. That worked last time. Here's another thing Marty's time travel adventure affected. The Libyan National Bus now has their headlights on. That's just chaos theory working its magic. So Marty starts making a run for it. Considering what we've seen in this movie so far, the Hill Valley Town Square is probably a little more than 2 miles away from the mall. But non-athletic slacker Marty can somehow make that trip on foot in 10 minutes. Okay, so he took the precaution of wearing a bulletproof vest, which probably shouldn't have worked against an AK-47 at that range anyway, but he didn't change anything else. The location or time where he would be shot or stealing plutonium from the Libyan Nationals in the first place. You'd think that in 30 years he might have come up with another power source for his DeLorean anyway. Which brings us to this point in the movie. The whole living room is different from what Marty remembers, which probably means a lot of things Marty remembers never happened, and his whole life would be different. Yet his other self is still apparently the same guy, with the same experiences, who still hangs out with Doc Brown and finds himself in a time machine going back to 1955. It's arguable the whole world would be different, since he interacted with a lot of people and not just his parents. It's also arguable you have to keep time travel simple, or else you lose your entire audience and you don't become the biggest hit of 1985. Still a sin. We never said we were happy about that.
Yeah, what are you wearing, Dave?
Of course. And that just has to come in at some point.
When you realise your laundry can still hold on to germs.
Okay.
I always wear a suit to the office.
And you still live with your parents?
Well, Mom, we talked about this. We're not
What's wrong
going
with
to
that?
the lake. Car's wrecked.
Nobody asks Marty why he thought the car was wrecked when he clearly wasn't. Furthermore, the new Marty apparently owns the 4x4 that he wanted so much at the beginning of the movie. Wouldn't someone in his family say, "Hey Marty, it doesn't matter if the car is wrecked anyway, you have a 4x4 in the garage"?
Now, Beth, don't con me.
Let this be a lesson, kids. When you punch a bully, that bully becomes a total pussy later.
Yeah.
Ever since high school. Although, if it wasn't for him.
We never would have fallen in love.
Okay, so it's understandable that in the movie they don't acknowledge that Marty looks a hell of a lot like the guy that helped them get together 30 years ago. They may have done it when he was growing up. They may have forgotten what 1955 Marty looked like, but you can't just give all the credit to freaking Biff for your marriage. Biff's big yellow truck is completely gone from the driveway all of a sudden.
Both you and Jennifer turn out fine.
And your girlfriend turns into Elizabeth Shue, and your dad is completely unrecognizable.
It's your kids, Marty. Something has got to be done about your kids.
You don't have to go back to 2015 to fix things, right? Can't you just tell them in 1985 so they'll remember later? Or give them an envelope they can't open until 2015?
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Well, last night he sure did. He got up to 88 in like no time.
Okay.
You're only a mile away.
Well, that was fun. Didn't really... I guess this is a very old video, so I wasn't really impressed by it. Oh.
He's a real nutcase. You hang around with him, you're going to end up in big trouble.
Oh, yes, sir.
Son, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash.
Tommy, how's the peeping? Tommy, how's the peeping?
So with the ending of these videos, they're always the best.
You like Huey Lewis on the news?
Are you gonna order something, kid?
Yeah. I'd like a keg of beer, please.
Don't say.
Yeah, how much is that?
Hearing ID, Sonny.
Give me a keg of beer.
Oh my gosh.
And these.
Okay, I think it's over here. Okay, thank you for that video, Captain Hampton. It was a nice video. Again, since this is a really old video, I think this was like released, what, 9 or 10 years ago? The quality wasn't the best, and the guy who usually does Cinema Sin didn't really sound as cool as I remember. But hey, people do change, and yeah, I still enjoyed this for what it was, and that's it for today, viewers. But I will probably do an unboxing video later, so look forward to that. If you enjoyed this particular video, leave a like on it. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're interested, follow me on Instagram, link down below. And until then, stay positive, keep calm, stay safe, be incredible. And as always, Brony on. Peace.